very important. Being part of the city of Dillon is very important. We're here tonight for a very important part of being in the city of Dillon, and that is tonight is going to go a long way for us to decide to choose who will be the leader of this community, the leader of the largest city in the county of Dillon over the next 4 years. And for that reason, it is very important that you all are here tonight to listen to these candidates, to be prepared to ask questions, to listen to their responses, and to take part in what we all collected together as a community have in common, and that is our interest that our city grow properly, that our city provides the services it needs to provide, and also that we have people in leadership who have vision for the future. So thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for those who took part in getting this thing together. And I'd like to recognize those if I could. I'm going to recognize the chair of the committee in a second. But before I do that, those of you who are on the Getting to Know Dillon Town Hall Planning Committee, when we met all those phone calls and gatherings to make this night possible, if you're on that committee, if you met and helped out here tonight, please stand up and let's give you a round of applause. Chip, I see you out there. Others, I see y'all. Stand up if you would there. Thank y'all very, very much. Also, as we're about to look into who we should choose as our next leader, we should also be thankful of those who have chosen to put their name forth to say, here, I would like to be a part of the leadership of Dillon County. I would like to offer my services. And many times they do that and they're not chosen, but other people are. But it's so brave, it's so wonderful, it's so courageous to say, here's my name. Pick me or don't pick me. We have with us tonight several elected officials who have chosen to put their name and who have been elected and are now part of our county, our community leadership. I know I saw earlier, and it's dark out there, so I don't see you now, but I hope you're still here. Jamal Campbell of Dillon County Council, are you here? No? Thank you, Jamal. And I think Roddy Coward's in the back. Roddy, you still here? I see Roddy back there. Yes, thank you, Roddy. And I see the old third baseman for the Reds when he's a little boy, and Mama is elder. I see Johnny Eller here, Johnny City Council. And I see here someone also who's been a great leader in this county, leading our city for many, many, many years. And something tells me if he didn't choose not to lead it further, this town hall would be necessary, not to just to be mayor, but that's one of our former mayors, Todd Davis. Where's Todd? Todd, thank you so much. And you know, although he's not elected, he's someone who's decided that he will devote himself to doing what's right for our community, to serving our community, to enforcing the law, no matter whether it's popular or not. And that is someone who really has dedicated himself to this county, and that is Chip Daniel. Chip, thank you for being here tonight. Did I miss anybody else who's an elected official or involved in policy? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, she's going to say the prayer now. I got her for that. Miss Melinda Ross. Yeah. But anyone else? Well, then let's do this. Since you are involved and if they can't be leaders if you don't vote for them, let's give you a hand. So thank you very much for being here. And now to begin the evening, just like we should begin all important events, we need to thank God for the blessings that He's given us. We need to thank the Lord for being our Savior. We need to thank God for our guidance. We are very proud to have the city councilman from Latta here, Miss Melinda Robinson, who is going to give us our opening prayer. Councilman Robinson, thank you very much for being here, all the way from Latta, South Carolina. Let's give her a clap in the hand. Oh, I didn't know you had a boot on there. Injured and everything.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I count it a pleasure to be counted amongst you to give you one of the most special and dear things to my heart, which is a prayer. If everyone will please bow your heads. Father God, as we come to you on this night, first we want to thank you for allowing us to assemble ourselves together. Thank you for an opportunity for us to come, open our hearts and our minds to receive what our candidates have for us. Lord, allow them to show and tell us what they have. And God, allow us to receive it with love and understanding. And God, we thank you for the city of Dillon, all of the leaders that are already in place, the ones that are serving. God, give us a heart to serve, a hand to help, and just to look out for one another. These and all many blessings we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
That's okay.
You know, just a couple of months ago, someone called me and said that they would like to do something for the city to be able to make an informed choice, and that would I agree to sort of be an MC. And after talking for a while, there was no doubt I was going to say yes. And we're going to introduce him in a minute. But before we do, not only is he the chairperson of this committee, but he has a very, very patriotic son. I know he's patriotic because he drove all the way to the beach one time at the 4th of July ceremony we had, just so he could play patriotic music for the veterans, for our country. And he was so much in a hurry to get down there, he actually got a traffic ticket, drive all the way to the beach. And didn't ask me to get him out of it either. That shows how patriotic. But if you would, ladies and gentlemen, we thank God. Now let's be thankful for our country.
Yeah.
So if you would, E5 Petty Officer Sir Cedric Page, home on leave from the United States Navy, where he's now serving his country, is going to come forth and give us our national anthem. Petty Officer Cedric Page, would everybody stand up, and if you would, put your hand over your heart, and let's listen to our rendition. Sir Thank you for your service. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to tell you about the purpose of us being here tonight, we've got the leader of our committee, the person who put all this together, he and his wife, Miranda. If you would, Cedric Page. Let's give him a hand. Cedric, come on.
All right. Good evening. And welcome to this truly historic event. My name is Cedric Page. I'm the host of Getting to Know Dillon, which is a local informative platform that engages with our community through social media. We are very pleased to host this one-of-a-kind event, a Meet the Candidates Town Hall. The purpose of this event is to give Dillon mayoral candidates the opportunity to share their platform, their priorities, for the city and the citizens of Dillon. It also gives candidates the opportunity to hear from and respond to the concerns of the citizens of Dillon. It is my hope that this will be the first of many town hall meetings, as these type of meetings are crucial to the success of our community. It does not necessarily have to be a meeting when there's an election taking place. We need these types of meetings to discuss issues that impact our community. I'm a firm believer that if you are not seated at the table, then you're on the menu. Well, this evening, my fellow citizens, we are seated at the table. Now let the meeting begin.
Thank you, Cedric. You know, also I want to appreciate the media that's here showing part of America, the First Amendment, the freedom of the press, those who make sure the public is informed. I saw one TV station from Florence is here, one or two, and appreciate y'all being here. Bessie Finkley, I'm so happy for you to be here from the best small town newspaper in America, and that's the Dillon Herald. By the way, let's give Dillon Herald a hand. By the way, just one side note where she's sitting. When we did the renovations and the city helped us do all this, I remember as a boy coming to this theater. Where she's sitting is right behind where my name is on the seat. The reason I put my name there, that's where I tried to get my first kiss with the Dillon Herald. My face is still red from the slap. Now let's begin with our town hall. We have timekeepers out in the audience. What's going to happen that our moderator will tell you about the various rules and everything else. But during the course of the evening, if you have a question, raise your hand. We'll try to get one of the timekeepers to come and let you put your question on a card. They already have some questions that people have already given, but if you have other questions, we'll try to get as many as we can. We'll try to end with 10 or 12, 15 minutes maybe to read some of the questions from you all. So raise your hand and we'll try to recognize you to let them give you a card for that. They'll also be there to let the moderator know about some time limits and things of that nature. And speaking of the moderator, let's recognize, if you would, our moderator tonight. We're very happy to have her here with us. She's the one, you may think her husband's sheriff of Dillon County, but she really is the sheriff. That is Cynthia Purnell. Cynthia, our moderator. Come out and And now let's introduce our candidates as they come in. I'm going to get them from the list here. They're mixed up back and forth. And so we'll just go with first. Let's go with the first one here, and they'll come to their place at the podium. Billy Odom. Billy, come on out if you would. Welcome, Billy. Our next candidate is going to be Ernest Mackey Adams. Then Lenora Penny Wright. And finally, Tally McCall. Tally. Now, ladies and gentlemen, during the day, I'm a judge and I'm in charge. But tonight, Cynthia Purnell is in charge. So I'm now going to turn it over to her for to talk about the rules and procedures and let the debate begin. Cynthia, up to you, ma'am.
All right, let's
Yeah,
get
please report.
Thank you so much, Judge, and thank you so much for the wonderful introduction of myself as well as our candidates. As he said, I will be first beginning with the rules. Let us first understand, this is not a debate. That's not what we're here for tonight. This is an opportunity for myself and for you all to get to know the candidates, to get to know why they are running for this prestigious position of being the mayor of our beloved city. So please understand, we will not have a debate where candidates are going back and forth and finding issue with each other. Again, this is an opportunity for us to get to know the candidates. With that being said, allow me to take a few moments just to go over the rules for this evening. With rules, okay. With the rules, we have time limits for all the comments as well as the responses by our candidates. We ask that all candidates adhere to our limits. Rule number 1. Each candidate will have up to 2 minutes for opening remarks to introduce themselves and state why they are running for mayor of Dillon. Rule number 2. Each candidate will be asked a question and will be given 1 to 2 minutes to answer each question. Number 3, after all candidates have responded to each question, then each candidate will have 1 to 2 minutes to respond to or rebut another candidate's response to the question. If time permits, a few additional questions from our live audience will be taken. In conclusion, each candidate will have 2 minutes to make a closing statement on why the citizens of Dillon should vote for him or her. Again, as we stated, we will have timekeepers out in the audience to make sure that we all stay on track. And please, again, when the timekeeper signifies that our time is up, please stop your responses. Because we don't want anyone to feel as though someone was given priority over another person. At your tables, you will see you have water. We're going to be doing a lot of talking, so feel free to keep yourself hydrated. You have a microphone. You also have a notepad and a pen for yourselves to take notes. Do we have any questions from the candidates? All right, let's get to know the candidates. We're going to start with our first question. This is going to allow us an opportunity to get to know the candidates. The first question, why are you running for mayor? We'll start with Mr. Tally McCall.
Wow, first. All right. So my name's Tyler McCall, and I'm running for mayor. I'm running for mayor because I love this town. Dillon is the place where I choose to raise my family. It's where I choose to go to church. It's where I choose to live. It's where I choose to work. I'm not planning on going anywhere. I'm proud of this town. I love this town. I love the people. So I'd like to be the mayor of this town. I'd like to help push this town. I'd like to keep us moving forward. We've got a lot of successes we can be proud of. We can thank our past mayors, our current city council, and the employees of this great city for the successes we have. I'd like to build on those successes and keep us moving forward. Thank you.
And while you're standing, also let us know what motivates you to run for this position.
Well, the main motivator is just I love this town. I like being part of everything. I go to the city council meetings. I go to all the festivals. My family likes to be present in all the activities that the city has to offer, and I want to see it continue. I do not want to see us go backwards, and we've got so much to be proud of. Judge, you say it all the time, how proud you are of this town. I'm proud of this town, and I want to see us move forward. Thank you.
Would you like to be called Ms. Lenore or Ms. Kenny? Doesn't matter. We will have Ms. Lenore, also known as Ms. Kenny Wright, to stand and let us know as well why she is running for mayor and what motivates her.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Lenora Wright. I'm born and raised here in Dillon. I love Dillon. My church is here in Dillon. I'm associate pastor there. And I love people.
Hello. First of all, Cedric, thank you for allowing this event to happen because people need to be heard. And our elections don't need to be a popularity contest. We actually need to hear from the candidates and know what they stand for instead of just voting for people that we don't know. And I feel like this will help get people involved in elections, and we need better voter turnout. Of course, I love this town. I've been here 37 years, my entire life, born and raised, and I've seen very little progress and I've seen very little growth, and I'd like to see that change. We have a lot of problems here. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. We have a main street that's falling apart. It needs attention. It's being ignored. We have certain people here that are trying to fix that, and they need our help. Certain areas in our city and county are focused on a little too much, and we need to change that. With the right people in office, we can change that. So, thank you for coming, and I look forward to more.
Thank you so much. Lastly, we have Mr. Billy Odom.
Of course, I can't stand. All right, my name is Billy Odom. I've been here all my life as well. I am a Wildcat through and through. I love Dillon with all my heart. I've been sitting on the sideline as far as leadership is concerned, but I volunteer a lot of my time, as you know, with the reg department, whether it's with the county or the city. I see a lot of things out there. I talk to a lot of people, and a lot of you know me. I'm always out in the yard, cutting grass or just working or doing something. And before my accident, I was a Burger King manager. I was up in Clemson. So I understand what it takes to make a business grow. And I look at the city of Dillon as a business, as which we all should, because we all want the same thing, and that is growth. We want sustainable growth. We want sustainable development. And that is what I want to work with our current city council, county. I want to work with them to see what we can do to help Dillon to grow. As it already has been said, you know, we're working on Main Street, but we can't seem to put a plan together to make it grow a little faster, I guess is what I want to say. But I just want to be a part of the team that builds a future for the kids that we have coming up behind us, because Dillon is a wonderful place, and I think that we should all work together to make it better. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now we'll begin with more questions to get to know our candidates. The first question is, what is the #1 challenge we are facing in Dillon? And what are your plans to solve that issue? We'll begin with you, Mr.
All right. So, from the outside looking in, and I go to a lot of the council meetings, and it seems like our #1 issue going forward is going to be our water and sewer. I think that our sewer plant right now and wastewater, we're almost at capacity. For us to get new industry, new developments, we're going to need a new sewage plant. Right now, we're pumping water all the way from Purdue, all the way out to the spray fields at the state park. This is going to be a tremendous undertaking. This is not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a lot of negotiating with our state and federal officials, our representatives, to get some money to try to build a plant, probably on the west side of town. That seems to be where the industry seems to be locating. The other thing we have an issue with is stormwater. Our stormwater, we need to address that systematically, get a plan to systematically go through and replace some of these smaller pipes with larger pipes. And that goes with the water and sewer as well. Now, this won't happen overnight. This needs to be a 25 to 30 year plan. It's going to be very, very expensive. So we've got to plan ahead. But like I said, it's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to be fast, but we've got to start somewhere.
Thank you very much. And if you want to sit, you're welcome to sit. If you want to stand.
together and make things happen, to make Dillon grow. And like you said about the water system and stuff, it's been that way for some time. And I am willing to help, if I become the manager, to improve this, to make Dillon County a better place, to help the children, the young people, and the older people, to make it safe in Dillon County.
I believe the biggest problem we have in this town is we actually need to listen to the citizens and reach out to them instead of just going our own way, making our own decisions based on self-interest. We need to actually talk to the citizens and see what they need. A lot of the citizens I've talked to feel like they're just ignored and forgotten. A lot of people don't even know who the mayor is. A lot of people have never been visited, and they feel forgotten, and that just makes them not want to be involved at all, and they've given up. So we need to reach out to them and see what they need, and actually listen to the people that we represent, and give them what they need.
Thank you very much. Let's go.
I think the biggest challenge is, as I said earlier, sustainable development and growth. And I think that comes with, as it was just mentioned, about the water waste treatment and also the drainage system. Yeah, those are some major problems, and we've been dealing with that for a long time. For example, I live on West Main, right there at South Carolina and McLeod, and that is one of the biggest problems we have on that side. And even when it rains, just the fact that the water has nowhere to go. A plan needs to be put in place, and the plan needs to be operated, because we've been working on this, as I said, for years. So if the plans are not working, then we need new plans. So we need to get people in the right places so that we can put in a new plan. If the existing one is taking this long, then we need to try something different. You know, it's insanity, doing the same thing over and over and coming up with the same results. So we need to try something different.
And I'm glad you mentioned something about the water, the drainage. We're gonna come back to that. That's a very good point that you brought up. But we're gonna touch on that in just a moment. But let's talk about something that you mentioned, Mr. Mackey. You mentioned about communication. Communication is important. You know, we have to be able to sit at the table and listen to one another. Sometimes it seems that the city, town, and county councils do not work together. What will you do to improve communication and cooperation between these councils?
Over the last 6 years that I've been paying attention to these city and county council meetings, it absolutely blows my mind that county council doesn't attend city council meetings and city council doesn't attend county council meetings. I don't understand that. I think it should be a requirement. I think it's a disservice to us as taxpayers, especially those of us in the city. We pay county taxes too. So these county councilmen should be involved in that also. And we need the city and the county to work together to help the city improve also. We also need the county administrator's help with a lot of city problems. The county council and the city council have met together one time in the last 15 years. That's absurd. They need to be meeting together, and they need to communicate, and we can even have workshops and where citizens can come to any meetings anyways, but they need to hear from everybody, whether you're city or county, and we just need to hear all the problems and work on that together, because the city can't do it by itself, and we've got a county councilman that covers part of the city, several county councilmen that cover part of the city that need to be involved. It's not like they just represent the county, they're including the city also, so they need to work together, and I encourage both city and county to attend the council meetings. They need to be there. I mean, I was happy to see that The fire chief actually attends the city council meeting, that's good. They need to attend the meetings, that's my biggest thing, that's a good start, they need to work together, because like I said, the city needs the county's help.
Ms. White, what would you do to improve communication between councils?
To improve communications, I would have them to work together, improving our relationship with one another, working together, sharing ideas, coming together on all solutions on one accord, and proving that we are on the same page, helping young people, older people, and all citizens safe activity, participating for the good of Dillon, because we need one another to come together on one accord and get together on these communities and have a relationship.
And how would you specifically, we all have our mindset. We think what we think, we believe what we believe. And how would you, or what would you say to encourage each one of us, of the councils, to merge these thoughts together? How would you specifically, or what would you try to do to convince them to let's pull together and work together?
In order to get them together, I myself will tell them, let's have a private meeting and pull together on this and set up a meeting where we can work hard and concentrate on things that Dillon County needs, and prove to one another that we together can get this situation in order.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely correct. I think the key to any success is good communications, and there is a lot of communication between the city and the county. If I were mayor, I would like to be on the agenda at the next county council meeting. I'd like to go and just introduce myself, and you've got to start a closer working relationship. I know a lot of the councilmen, Councilman Coward, Councilman Campbell, they're here tonight. The other ones are great people, they're all good people, and they all care about their community, but we've got to start working together. There's so many things that we can work together on. Law enforcement, recreation, we've got to have new neighborhoods. So the city's got to grow. The only way the city can grow is to take land from the county. So we've got to do all this. For us to do that, we've got to have capability to provide water and sewer and protection from law enforcement, protect fire protection. So there's a lot of things that we're gonna have to do together. So the county cannot succeed without the city, and the city cannot succeed without the county, because we cannot stand still. We've got to move forward.
Thank you so much. Mr. Odo, public safety is a major concern. Neighborhood law enforcement patrol appears to be less. There is an increase in gun violence in some communities. Please tell us, what will you do to address the rising crime rate in our city?
Well, I think the first problem is, crime is gonna be out there. And, we have to start at home, first and foremost. Secondly, the issue with law enforcement, I've seen it and I've heard about, we have this issue where we're training and we're sending our officers off, and they come back from the academy, and 6-8 months later, they're moving to other counties where the salaries are higher. So technically, it's like the county of Dillon and the city of Dillon, whether it's a county deputy or a city police officer, are being trained. We're paying for them to be trained, and then they're going other places and working because they feel that they're not getting paid enough. So I think we have to look at that first and foremost, that we have to be competitive to actually keep the ladies and the gentlemen that we are training. And once we can keep them, I think that it would be a lot easier to come up with a better plan on how to deal with it. We gotta cooperate, as it was just said, city and county have to cooperate with each other, because even though we're in the city, you know, the county is right there. I mean, you know, they work together already. So we have to work on keeping our police officers on the force first and foremost.
Plain and simple, we just need to incentivize them to be here for us, and we need to give them a raise and prioritize our budget to give them what they deserve. We need to give them the equipment they need, bulletproof vests, radios, all that kind of thing. We just need to support them. I support them 100%. I'm all for giving them everything they need to protect us, and we need to really think about patrolling more. Because police presence deters violence, plain and simple. So we need to think about where they're patrolling and just have them around all the time. And like I said, give them everything they need to protect us.
Many residents do not have transportation for getting to medical appointments, nor going to the grocery store to do their shopping. What do you propose to make public transportation, what do you propose to do to make public transportation more available and more affordable for the citizens of Dillon the citizens of Dillon? Ms. Penny.
In order to make Dillon County citizens to come together on getting more buses, transportation to get people back and forth, to help them with city buses, keeping the streets and areas that the sidewalks is good to help, and build a better place for Dillon County, and making transportation, I know it's kind of hard, but we do need transportation as city buses or taxi cabs or something to get people to and from.
Tally, how would you communicate this message to the citizens? I mean, many people don't know about PDRTA. You know, how can we communicate the message that this service is available, and what will you do to help make it available for the citizens?
That's a really good question. So at the last council meeting, Don Strickland from PDRTA actually came to the meeting. Johnny, he was actually there at the meeting, and he announced to the council that the PDRTA is actually expanding their services to the city of Dillon and the surrounding communities. And guess what? That's a state and federally funded program, so that's at zero cost to the citizens of Dillon. All he asked was that the city of Dillon provide bus stops. And these bus stops provide a dual purpose. Not only can PDRTA use them, but also our school kids can use these bus stops so they're not standing in the rain before school or standing in the cold. The other thing that they would like the city to do is they would like the city to help get some well-defined maps, some well-defined routes, and get those routes out to the citizens so that they know what time the bus is coming and when it'll get back and where it's going. If they need to go to Walmart, they need to go to the hospital. The other thing that they said is they will also do pickups. If you have an elderly parent or something, they got a doctor's appointment and you can't be there, you can actually call them and they will do a pickup for you. So PDRTA sounds like that could be the solution to our problem. And all they ask in return is a couple of bus stops and getting information out, and the city can definitely get information out.
Thank you very much. As we continue to talk about public safety, let's take a lateral move and let's talk about I-73 for one moment. What are your thoughts in regarding I-73 and its impact on Dillon, Mr. Odom?
as we know, it will be taking a lot of traffic that would normally be coming through on number 9 or going to North Myrtle Beach, is taking it away and taking it down 38 and on down 22 to Myrtle Beach. So I think that what we need to do is we need to look at how to make up for those for the economy or the economical businesses that will be hit. We need to think about how we can replace those businesses or help those businesses in areas that they already are in. We know that with the beach, with 95, that we're always going to have traffic flow coming through. So now we just have to think about how we can increase people wanting to come through Dillon or even just come to Dillon. You know, we have south of the border. Back in the day, south of the border was jumping. You know, it was something that people just used to come through just to stop by and see. And I think that we need to open up the city of Dillon, even if it's just downtown, but we just need to give people a reason to want to come through and want to spend money in our fair little town, because we have a lot to offer and we have to show people that it's here. Right now, they don't see it because there's no reason for them to come through. And since they're trying to do I-73 and 74, we need to fill in those gaps.
Mr. Adams, same question.
I agree with that, but before we think about that, we need to work on Bradford Boulevard because we've got a handful of problems out there and we need to clean that up. We've got hotels, well, I don't know if we can call them hotels, we've got motels that have tons of problems. You can look at the Google reviews, it's not pretty. Most people stay there one time and they say never go back to Dillon, and they say the places should be condemned and shut down immediately. It's not good, and I don't know why it's allowed. We've had lots of crime out there, and we definitely need to focus on that because I mean, if we're focusing on the industry coming into Dillon, that's our gateway out there, and if we're not taking care of that, then if they see that and all the other bad statistics around here, then they're not going to come here anyway. So we got to clean this place up.
I-73. Yeah. So I don't like I-73. I don't think it's a good idea. What it tends to do is it's going to take traffic around Dillon. And right now, I'm the first one that likes to complain about all that beach traffic when I'm trying to come uptown to get something to eat. But let me tell you what they do. That beach traffic spends money in Dillon. They buy meals. That pays for our hot meals tax. Any prepared meal in the city of Dillon, there's a hot meals tax. That hot meals tax funds our recreation department. Without that hot meals tax, we wouldn't have a wellness center, we wouldn't have all these fields out there at the armory, we wouldn't have a golf course, we wouldn't be able to maintain our parks. So, that being said, I-73 is probably coming. I don't know when it's going to come, it may take forever, but we have got to be very, very vigilant and lobby our state and federal representatives to make sure that Dillon has multiple exits to bring that traffic through town. We cannot live without that tourism and that money that they provide for this city. We could live without it, but it just wouldn't be as easy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's talk about animal control. There are many dogs, cats, running free in our streets. As mayor, would you be willing to work with our local humane society in helping find these sweet fur babies homes to help with the overcrowding of animals in the shelter? Ms. King.
I would love to help with the Humane Society to take care of these animals. And if we don't have a place for them, we should extend the one that we have here in Dillon or build another place to keep these animals and protect Dillon County with the animals. I love animals. I'm afraid of cats, but we need a place to keep them in, so we need a larger humane society.
Mr. Odom touched on, the drainage problem that we have here in the city. I wanna know your thoughts on, what will you do as far as updating or possibly replacing our current system with a new wastewater treatment facility? And does the city have enough capacity to handle the growth?
Well, thank you for asking that, because that's a problem my neighbors and I have a problem with already. During the hurricanes, the water got over waist deep at my house. I didn't live there at the time, but I heard that, and I've seen pictures, and I see damage at my house from that. So, first of all, I think we need some transparency on what's actually going on with these storm drains, because I've heard that some are even collapsed underground, and I mean, they're not even serving a purpose. And as far as us paying a $4 a month stormwater drainage fee, if it's not gonna serve its purpose, then we need to stop charging the citizens that, because they're paying for nothing, so. I mean, like I said, we need transparency on what's actually going on with these drains. We need people to get down and look in there and give us some information about what's going on, and then we can focus on what needs to take place to fix those drains, because, I mean, it's obvious, everybody knows it, even 301, where everybody goes through. We even have the detour when it rains enough. So yeah, we need transparency with that, and then we can look at what we need to fix.
Ms. Penny, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts on the wastewater is, yes, we do need more help on getting the wastewater and the drainage, because like on 301 and on Main Street down by the library, it floods out, and we do need a water drainage system to help Dillon County, to save our streets and county, to make it much more safer. It's always, and it's been that way for so long. And I will do my best as a mayor to make sure that we get these drains fixed and completed.
Well, in order to make that happen, my question is, would you support a tax increase to help pay for any modifications to increase the speed of the drainage now?
I'm really not in favor of a new tax. We're already paying, like you said, $4 per household, I think, monthly. And I think, Councilman Eller, help me out here, but I think after the floods 5 years ago, the state came in and they did a study. And they've come back and they've identified the parts of the city that have the most need and where we can get the most benefit. So the city is now in the process of entering into, I think, a $4.1 million project. It's gonna take over 2 to 3 years. So it's gonna try to help alleviate those problems. The problem is when the city was built, the pipes were small. It was not as much concrete. As we expand with concrete and roofs and buildings, there's not as much ground for the water to soak through, and the pipes are just too small. What we've got to do is we've got to make a plan. And it's not a 1 year, 2 year, or 3 year plan. It's a 25 to 30 year plan, because these smaller pipes are going to have to be fixed. There probably is, well, there is some state and federal money available, and we need to tap into that money. But before we can do that, we need a plan.
Mr. Odom, what's your plan, and do you favor an increase?
Well, I agree. I don't think we need to do the tax increase, but if the government is going to give the money to actually start the process, I think, as Mr. McCall just said, we basically just need a plan, and we need to be able to put that plan into place. Because, he's saying 25, 30 years. Yeah, it's gonna take some time, but we need to look at a different plan if we're looking at that long term of a solution. I mean, because right now, with the way things are going, we need something now, right now. And I think that, you know, if that is something that the city is looking at, that's good, but we can always look at an alternative as well while we're working on that. The plan is what we need, but we need to look at a plan and then implement the plan and not just say, oh, we got a plan, and it's gonna be 25 years.
So what plan would you bring to the table?
Well, that's just something that I would be willing, as you asked the question earlier about talking with city and county councils. We need to communicate. We all need to get together and get on the same page. And that's just gonna take us meeting, discussing, and working. Because it's gonna take work. It's not gonna happen overnight, as it was just said. It's gonna take some time, but we all need to be on the same page, whether we're in the city or the county, because it affects each and every one of us. And if the city has something in place right now, we need to look at it and see if we can't find a way to speed it up or find something different.
I often hear citizens talk about economic development and the impact of having an economic development coordinator in our city. Would you support hiring an economic developer strictly for the city who can work jointly with the county economic development talent?
Absolutely, I think that's something we should definitely look into. As important as economic development is, we should definitely look into that. Right now, Lisa Moody is wearing two hats. She's downtown coordinator / economic developer, and she is really, really busy. So that is something that will be very, very important to the city. And it's not only downtown development, but it's actually getting some facilities, some plants. We've got some in the city that have closed down recently. We need to try to get some industry back into the city. And also, as an economic developer, you have other organizations within the city that you can also work with, like Dillon Community Alliance. Right now, they've just secured $1.2 million at zero cost to the city of Dillon taxpayers. So the economic developer with the county and with the city could work with groups like that to figure out how they've been successful. Right now, they're trying to spend that money downtown, or they are going to spend that money downtown to try to get some growth with businesses down there. So yes, I would be in favor at looking at that.
Okay, all right, this is gonna be our last question, so since that's the one that was on the table, I will let each of the candidates respond to that last question regarding, economic development. Are you in favor of hiring an economic developer to work in conjunction with the county?
Yes, I am willing, and I would accept someone to come in and get someone to working with the economics, to make Dillon, citizens come together. And as he stated, have each and every one to, just call a meeting and come together and work with this economic situation.
I'm not in favor of that. We already have an economic developer in the county, and the city's included in the county. I think the county economic developers should work with the city to get things done. Because I think if we hired yet another person, that would just increase taxes and it would be passed on to us. So I'm not.
Well, I agree. I think we do. As Mr. McCall just said, we have someone who's wearing two hats. I think that we need fresh blood. She needs help, and I think if we brought someone else in, that they could possibly work together along with the county, and and get a lot of this stuff, as we said earlier, about reviving the downtown Dillon, the city of Dillon, and the county as well. So yes, I think that we should.
Thank you very much.
And now we have out in the audience, Celeste Campbell and Cynthia Ford have been collecting questions and all for us. Celeste and Cynthia, wherever y'all, who's gonna go first? Cynthia Ford, you got a question you want to ask from one of the audience members to our candidates?
Yes. What are the plans for Dillon County
will you make any changes or will everything remain the same?
What are the plans for Dillon County? And
What are some changes you would do if you were mayor, looking at the way this thing's now, what are some changes you would do, from the way we do things now?
Yeah, for the city, I think the council does a great job. I think the past mayors have done a great job. If there's one thing I would like to do, I'd like to see things move just a little bit faster. And, you know, we focus a lot of our time on downtown. When we go to the council meetings, a lot of time is spent talking about downtown. We need to look forward and start talking about neighborhoods, growing our water and sewer system, growing our law enforcement protection, growing our fire protection. There's a lot of other things besides just downtown, although downtown is the backbone of our city, and we need to make sure that they have everything they need down there to restore it and get it revived back to its glory.
And to do this, make sure we get enough questions in. Let's let Cynthia's questions go to Tally and to Penny, and then we'll have Celeste's questions go to Mackie and Billy. But if you two want to respond to something they say, as Cynthia said, we'll do it. So, Penny, what changes would you have and do around the city of Dillon, what we do now?
I would, as being the mayor, I would change the law enforcement to make them, to get more officers, training to help stop the violence, crimes, to restore Main Street and places for families with their children, and make it like, for instance, a swimming place or some place for them to do activities.
Okay. Now, Celeste, you have a question here for Mackie and Billy.
What are your plans to keep current businesses here in Dillon County, and what are your plans to bring new businesses to Dillon County?
Okay, Mackie.
It's a tough one. First of all, I think we need to focus on crime because if people see the statistics here now, it's just gonna make them choose another place. And wastewater treatment also, because we're at capacity now, and if somebody decides that they wanna come to Dillon and they need wastewater, and they see that we don't have the room for it, then they're just gonna choose another city or county. So, but we also need to, especially, I'm all for bringing business to Main Street and just bringing that back to life. And in order to do that, we need to fix those buildings, plain and simple. I don't know what it's gonna take. Those buildings are old, and we probably just need to even think about scrapping some of them and starting from scratch again. But we just have to give them the places and the opportunities to come here.
Yes, it's been said, we're talking about downtown and, encouraging it. I know that the city's already had a couple of grants. I know they were talking about a facade grant. But I think that we need to start looking into grants that are gonna help those who own the property downtown to help them to fix those buildings up. It's gonna take a lot because those buildings are older. But I think we need to deal with not just downtown, but around Dillon as a whole. Right now, I was just in a meeting last week in Florence, and I heard the CEO of the South Carolina Port Authority. She was talking about a process that they were going to start doing to start training for those who want to open up and operate new businesses in this area, in the PD area. She said PD, but she was specifically talking about Dillon. And one of those that they want to do is they want to hire and get more truck drivers. So those people who want to, drive trucks and have their own business, they will be able to do that. So we just need to get together with people who want to bring businesses to Dillon. And that goes back to having someone, an economic developer, search those people out, search those businesses and companies out.
Ms. Ford, what do you got for Callie and Ms. Penny.
How will you have a positive impact in Dillon County as a whole, referring to Lakeview and Latta?
That sounds like a loaded question, yeah. Ask that question again?
How will you have a positive impact in Dillon County as a whole? And they're referring specifically to Lakeview and Latta, including Lakeview and Latta.
Positive impact as far as I'm sure means getting along with Lakeview and Latta and, us sort of emitting a positive impact to the state while we get along with Lakeview and Latta. Don't be competitive as much as get along. Either one. Go ahead, Cap.
Well, I think it goes back to communication. It's all about communication, and we've got to communicate with the town of Latta, the town of Lakeview, and the town of Dillon. And who mentioned it earlier, officers leaving one city to go to another city. Communication would stop a lot of that. And there's a lot of stuff we can work together on, recreation, we can work with recreation departments, law enforcement, backing up the county and the sheriff's office with our local city law enforcement, and also fire protection. But I think the big thing is recreation is huge when you talk about all three cities in this county coming together. The other thing we need to look at also is a huge problem over in Latta with their sewage and water system. And it'd be nice if Dillon had the facilities to help take on some of those gallons from under there. But right now, we just don't. So, communication, I think.
All right, Penny, how would you make sure we all got along?
In order to make people come together, to get along, like you say, it's communication and coming on one accord and sitting out these things that need to take place in Dillon, Latta, Lakeview, the surrounding areas. I would really just sit down and just have a conversation with them and explain whatever the needs in these towns or the city of each city and just work together on it. It's like you said, communication.
Come by, yeah. All right, Celeste, what do we have for, Mackie and Dillon?
What are your plans for activities to keep the youth engaged and retain them here in Dillon County?
Good question.
Well, I was thinking about that earlier because, as I said before, I deal with the recreation department already, and one of the main things that we've already seen happen, the city took over the football program. So I think right now I was actually talking with Mr. Glenn last year about that process, about opening it up and allowing us to have an earlier registration and just allowing for more facilities as far as our kids being able to do things. Say for instance, the basketball program, we just have the wellness center, they just have the one court, so you don't allow all the children that want to participate in Dillon the opportunity to do so. So I think as far as that's concerned, we need to figure out a way to add more facilities to help so that we can allow as many kids as possible in the city or in the county, whether it's in Lakeview or Latta, to participate in our recreational department.
I agree with that. I think one thing we should look at is probably community centers, somewhere for children to go after school to play and just do whatever, even to do their homework there, get help with homework. Another thing to think about at East Elementary, we're gonna get a new school soon, and we're gonna have a bunch of empty schools. I'm sure those schools have some empty buildings available that can be converted to community centers. And it also works out, they're spread out around the city and county, so I mean even the wellness center, wellness center has like 2 or 3 more payments, and that's gonna be paid off. That's gonna free up a lot of money to be able to use for these new plans, so that's what I think.
Before we do that, Cynthia and Celeste, y'all pick out one more really good question for each side, but I think that question is so important about young people. What are we gonna do for the young people? Recreation, keeping people in the city of Dillon. Penny and Matthew, would y'all like to respond to that question about our young people and recreation?
In order to keep the young people, like I had stated earlier, to really maybe just have a place for them to go, have activities, come together as a family, you know, their family, a place for them to come together and do things that would keep them off the streets. Like, we need the movie theater or something, or a swimming place, things for the kids to do in the evening. Instead of just sitting home and playing games, they can go out and with their family and do little activities together. And they have, you know, build a place for that if you don't have it. Just build a place, a nice place for the families to come together with their children.
Yeah, thank you. Kevin?
So yeah, I think recreation is very important, and that's the key to get to the kids that's the key. Right now, the city of Dillon has a lot for kids to do. We've got the fields out here, the softball, the baseball fields, the football field now. We've got the golf course out there. There's activities we can sponsor out there. There's lots of open area. We've got all the parks, and we've got something that no other area has. We've got a wellness center. That is like the gym of the PD. That is way underutilized. No other city around our size has something like that. So we could better utilize that, especially during the summertime, for summer activities for some of these kids.
Okay. Now let's go with you, Ms. Ford. What's our last question on your side?
Okay, I think this one kind of balances out the other question. What programs or efforts do you see that may help improve the lives of the elderly in Dillon County?
All right, that's for you and Ms. Wright and Patty McCall. What do y'all say?
Yes, in order for, you say for the youth or
For the elderly.
for the elderly?
People like me.
Yes.
Help me.
To have, come together on the communication, get a place for them to come together in the evenings or Saturday evenings to, you know, the elderly people play puzzles or something like that, something to do for the elderly. Have a little activity, outdoor plans for them to do.
Guys?
So I think that right now, two things. We've got some facilities with the wellness center or rec fields. Maybe we could have some recreational activities for the elderly, and it can be sponsored through the Council of Aging. Right now, I think the Council of Aging is in one of the city buildings. Is that a city building? That building needs to be bigger. It needs to be a lot bigger, and it needs to be updated. We need to think about somewhere else that the Council of Aging can go, and we could do activities they could do these same activities as the youth do. You know, baseball, softball, activities at the wellness center. You should go out to the wellness center about 8 or 9 o'clock every morning. There's about 20 folks out there playing pickleball on the basketball court. There are things like that we could really help out with as a city.
All right, if you would, then Celeste, one good question for Mackie and Dillon.
It's been statistically proven at times that crimes committed are correlated to poor education and lower literacy. How can we prevent these crimes and with our current educational system in Dillon, South Carolina?
Okay, who wants you to go first? Yeah, thinking hard on that.
Yes. I guess it starts at home. And when I say that, I just mean that, you know, we have to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to help our children get whatever it is that they need. As far as the schools around here are concerned, you know, I think when we look at that, anything can be better. I work with the school. I sub. I coach basketball with the middle school program. So I see a lot of the kids, and I see a lot of them. They are asking me to help them with their math. So I think that one of the things that we could benefit, because there are a lot of after-school programs that are already out there, but I think if we could come up with something that would, as it was just said about the recreational aspect of it, I think even with recreational, we need the academics behind that. I mean, children need the academics before the recreation. So I think if we can get something, some after-school program that would benefit and help all our children from all ages, then I think that would be a benefit in helping us with the literacy aspect of it, because we got to get our kids to stay in school and not in alternative school. So I think if we can find a way to get them the help they need before any of that happens, then they will be better off. And that would start with some type of after-school program that will help them with their academics.
I completely agree with that, and it goes back to what we were talking about with the other question. Kids just need stuff to do in this town. They get out of school and they're bored, they roam the streets, and they just need stuff to do after school. They need positive role models. They just need to be able to always be around people that they can look up to and get good guidance from, instead of just roaming around. And boredom creates all kinds of evil. And if these kids have stuff to do, then they're not led the wrong way.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, just a few days, you're going to be making a choice among these people. So Cynthia now is going to give them one last opportunity to speak to the people as to why he or she should be mayor of Dillon. Is that it?
Thank you, Judge. And before the candidates come to give their final closing argument for why you should elect them to be your next mayor, let us take a moment and let's just thank Judge Lockerbie for the awesome job that he has done on this evening. Additionally, I would be remiss if we all didn't collectively, let's just take a moment and give Dr. Phil Wallace a round of applause for stepping in to look after our fine city at a time like this. Let's give Dr. Phil Wallace. Now, you've heard from the candidates. They told you why you should elect them to be your next mayor. Now, they're gonna come before you and offer their final plea for why you feel these citizens who are looking you in your beautiful eyes and faces should vote for you as the mayor of Dillon. We'll start with, we're gonna come on, we'll start on this end first. We'll start with you, Mr. O'Connor.
Again, as I said, I just think that the city of Dillon needs change. I think that we need to try something different. We've been stagnant for a while now, and I don't think that it's because we don't have people that are not looking out for us in our city council and our current administration. I just think that we just need to come up with a better plan, and we need someone who is willing to step up and put that out there, that we just need a better plan to move forward. And I just feel that being in Dillon and being around the people, around citizens that have complained about different things, that I just feel that I'm knowledgeable of what the need of the people are, as well as what the city has already been trying to do. And I feel that I can step in and just communication, as has been said, help with county and city, communicate with each other, and let's just move forward instead of being stagnant.
Let's get Billy over.
So
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I think the biggest thing is we have to fix our priorities. We gotta focus on the things that actually need the focus and put the attention and the tax dollars on the things that are most important. Like I've been here 37 years, and like I said, I've seen very little change, very little improvement. We've got access to interstate. We've got all these tax dollars. There's no reason we should be lacking as much as we do. And if I am able to become your next mayor, I guarantee that I will focus on everyone in this city, not just certain groups, certain people, and no special interest. So thank you.
Again.
I, would like you to vote for me possibly my plans are to make living, Dillon County a better place to live, communication with one another, focusing on the children as they coming up, because we are losing a lot of young children now. And we need to make Dillon grow and be a better place to live. All the waste and everything that you're talking about, I'm willing to work with that and help Dillon County grow with communication.
Lord, can you write?
All right. Well, I'm gonna start the same way I'm gonna finish the same way I started. I love this city. I love the people of this city. We have every tool that we need to be successful. We've got 3 major highways that come through town. We've got 2 railways, and we've got a gift from the state of South Carolina with that inland port. We've got everything we need, coupled with great citizens. We can be successful. We just have to keep pushing forward. As your next mayor, I would like to be the one pushing. I would be honored by your vote. I'll work for every citizen of this city. One more thing before I quit. There are a lot of people in attendance here tonight, so there are a lot of people that care. But I will tell you, there is a town hall meeting every month right down there at City Hall. And every one of these issues that we've talked about in here tonight, they discuss at those meetings. If you care about this town, go to the council meetings. I'd like to be the one standing up there to hear what you have to say. I'd like to be the one in the community to hear what you have to say. But there is a town hall meeting down there. Your opinion needs to be heard.
And a go. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the person who cares so much about our furry friends, our moderator tonight, Cynthia Burnell. Let's give her a hand. And let's now welcome back to the podium our host, where's Cedric? Cedric, you want to do some closing remarks? Cedric Page with closing remarks. Then we want to, by the way, Cedric, if you come up, let me do this. Let's thank Cynthia Ford, Celeste Campbell, our timekeeper there. Hold that sign up one more time there. 15
Just want to go with some thank yous. I wrote it down so hopefully I won't forget anybody or leave anybody off, but I just want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank the distinguished guests and elected officials for coming. My son for playing the sax, the national anthem. I want to thank Councilwoman Robertson for doing the prayer. Our planning committee, former Mayor Todd Davis, Richard Talbot, Latoya Absent, Shakisha Davis, Paige Smith, Giles Page, Chip Daniel, and Keidra Wright. I want to thank all those that volunteered, Myra Bethay, Teresa Stevens, Latoya McCray, Monique Soels, Tammy Hoey, Lisa Whittington, Jackie Thomas, Gypsy Murdoch, Cynthia Ford, Celeste Campbell. Also want to thank Latoya for offering her space. We got the juice for the pre-meeting reception, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Also want to thank the local chefs who donated refreshments there. Richard Talbot of Breaking Bread, Dre Williams, One Man, One Dream, Keidra Wright, John Martin, Q and J, Barbecue and Ribs, Kimmy Britt for Nikki's Sugar Shack, I also want to thank the theater as well, specifically the theater staff and Ms. Johnny Lures, Wayne Green.
What about Wayne Green? Let's get Wayne a hand. He's gonna give you some kickboxing lessons.
That's for another day. Ronnie Rao, that's a tongue twister. Also want to thank Miss Angela Bennett for the decor on the stage here with the kind of spruced up a little bit for Angie's Floors. I also want to thank, and she was mentioned in the town hall meeting tonight, Lisa Lou. She does a tremendous job. I really want to thank she was very good at looking at illustrate artists, but I mean, I really want to specifically thank Lisa. She does a lot for the city, so we should be proud to have her. She's a treasure. I want to thank Councilman Johnny Eller. He did a lot of stuff behind the scenes, very instrumental in getting this done. I want to thank City Manager Glenn Wagner. Of course, our moderator, Ms. Purnell, aka the Sheriff, as you say. Also want to thank Dillon's own, the legendary Judge James E. Lockett. I'm almost finished, y'all, but I want to thank my mom, who's no longer here, but she was simultaneously my worst critic and my biggest cheerleader. I love you, Mom. I also want to thank my rock, my heart, my everything. She's smart, she's intelligent, she's beautiful. My amazing wife, Dr. Miranda Elaine King. I want to thank her for putting up with all these different projects I have going on. But believe me, she's the brains behind all of this, so I love it. And last but not least, I would like to thank the candidates, our candidates. As we all know, it takes a lot of courage to muster up, to run for public office, especially here in Dillon. And also offer to be a public servant. So I want to thank, the candidates for it. It takes a lot of courage to do this. And I also like to thank you, the citizens of this great city of Dillon. It is time to open up the doors of government and participate in our own democracy once again. So may God bless you, may God bless Dillon, and good night.
And before you leave, ladies and gentlemen, let's do this. Let's end in a prayer, if you don't mind. I'd like to have the honor of saying a prayer to God. And as we do that, just remember, tomorrow is the 50th anniversary, and it's not really anniversary, but the 50th day we celebrate from the last combat troops leaving Vietnam. Here in the city of Dillon tomorrow, the county of Dillon, having a ceremony at 6:44 a.m. 6:44 a.m. for those of you who get that early, but it also signifies the last combat troops leaving what was really a sad moment in our American history. 60,000 Americans died. Many from Dillon. We'll read the names of those from Dillon that passed away in Vietnam tomorrow morning at 6:44. Cedric, thank you, Cynthia. Thank you. Before I do the prayer, one more hand for all these candidates. Thank you. Dear God, thank you so much for the city of Dillon. Thank you so much for the people tonight who came out here to show that they care, that they love, that they want to be involved in the future of this wonderful city. And as we look back upon the many years and many decades, the errors, the mistakes, the good things, the wonderful things, and some of the bad things, let us learn from those, dear Lord, and let us go forth in this city. Let us go forth with the thought of the vision for the future so that the posterity, those kids who are here today, those kids who are going to be here and born in the years to come, will look back on this day and know that we cared and that we wanted to do something to make a difference for the city of Dillon. Dear God, thank you for your guidance. Thank you for your love. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. Thank you, everybody.
Please go vote.
Please go vote.
Please go vote.